Every trend usually starts with something little, and the car in this video stood at the very beginning of one of the most spectacular types of motorsport. This car is the most awarded and titled representative of driving sideways. It is Toyota AE86, also known as Hachiroku. Back in 1983, Toyota released this small, unremarkable model. It was offered in two body styles, a coupe and unusual liftback. And the customers could choose between the regular headlights with a wide opening and also mysterious pop-up headlights. The first option model, called Levin, and the pop-up headlight model, called Trueno. The nameplate Trueno derived from the Spanish word for thunder, and the Levin derived from an early English word for lightning. In Japan, Toyota Sprinter Trueno was exclusive to Toyota Japan dealerships called Toyota Auto Store, while the Corolla Levin was exclusive to Toyota Corolla Store. But anyway, both of those models called Toyota AE86. The letters AE have their own internal Toyota factory code meanings that included the engine series, car variant and generation, which is not that interesting. But what is interesting is the number 86 that gave this car its unique name. The number 8 in Japanese language is Hachi, and 6 is Roku, that makes Hachiroku, and this is how it is known around the world. And if you will ask an average person that usually judges a car by its look, they will probably say this is straight ugly car, or maybe this is just a grocery getter. And this is what I thought when I saw this car, or when I read or watched something about drifting. And that all may be true to some extent until you actually learn story behind this car. Toyota equipped Hachiroku like a real fighter. It has a limited slip differential, anti-roll bars on both axes, disc brakes all around, and rear-wheel drive with almost perfect 50-50 weight distribution ratio. The engine has 16 valve head, which was a sign of luxury even for a car from classes higher. It was just too cool for a small, affordable car. The stock engine here is 1.6 liter with only 128 horsepower, which is not impressive at first, but the weight of this little car is less than a ton. It did not exceed 970 kilograms. That is why this power was enough to take it from 0 to 60 miles an hour or 100 kilometers an hour in just 8.7 seconds. And in addition to that, Toyota gave this engine some great reliability to handle aftermarket power custom upgrades. The engine could be modified to deliver up to 240 horses with unbelievable 12,000 RPM, and an engine being still naturally aspirated, which means with no turbo or supercharger. Knowing that, a suspicion comes to mind that Toyota did not just build a runabout car, but they intentionally built some kind of a sleeper monster. And that is all possible with the perfect mass to power ratio. The car is capable to compete with those that are much more powerful and technologically advanced, and finally, this is why this little car initially had such a huge popularity among the professional drivers. It was chosen by drivers and teams and also won a large number of competitions. Hachiroku even participated in Dakar Rally, which was kind of incredible but true. And it's also famous for those early times of drifting when it was not yet well recognized type of motorsport at that time. That's where and when Hachiroku started to show its performance. It was the winding roads of Japan, so-called toga roads. This rear-wheel drive, low-weight car, often with custom upgrades, attracted Japanese street racers, and during these illegal night drives, Hachiroku was one of the most popular cars. In its stock form, it was not an easy car to throw into a side drift. Each driver needed to build and adjust the suspension for themselves, and only those drivers who are really talented in both fine-tuning and drifting were able to get the best results. So if you have perfected your drifting skill on 86, then you will probably throw any car into a drift. These dangerous serpentine roads in Japan are also the place where the famous drifter Keiichi Tsuchiya started started his career and started the whole drifting culture. In the mid-1980s in Japan, he was one of just a few young guys who were crazy about drifting, and not having enough money to pay for the racing classes, he went out to drive at night on mountain roads to improve his skills in his Toyota AE86. He also participated in illegal night races. It was often his chance to meet and learn from the professional drivers. They also came to participate those dangerous serpentine drives. Slowly he turned into a more and more skillful, experienced, and most importantly professional toga serpentine racer. Keiichi's favorite style was cornering and sliding sideways and using the handbrake. And while this style of driving was not taken seriously, eventually it was noticed that on some especially steep turns this trick worked. This style was used by other drivers more and more often. It was not just fun, it actually helped a better understanding of car dynamics, and it teaches a driver to prepare and control his car and himself in extreme conditions. Keiichi used to say that people make mistakes when their heart rate goes up, so first of all drivers need to control themselves. So later, after saving some money and getting sponsorships, he made a short film about his hobby featuring his Hachiroku. He was incredibly popular among the drifting community, but for participating in illegal races, Japanese Automobile Federation paused his racing license, and for some time he was banned from racing. But the drifting was growing so fast that his scandal was later dismissed. Meanwhile, drifting gained more and more popularity and became one of the most exciting and entertaining activities among the younger drivers in Japan. Keiichi supported the development of this new drifting culture, and Hachiroku was one of the most popular and successful cars in drifting. He still drives his modified AE86 and loves it so much that he founded Toyota AE86 Club. The club makes videos about the car's upgrades and drifting techniques. And having won so many competitions in Asia and some European championships, Keiichi always remembered that Hachiroku was his first car that helped him to learn the basics of competitive driving. But it's not the end of Hachiroku's story, because the majority of its fame Toyota AE86 received after the release of cartoon Initial D and also a movie with the same name a little later. The cartoon and the movie showed all the advantages of the famous Hachiroku. Both are basically an encyclopedia of Hachiroku, and after watching the cartoon you will know the behavior and specs, driving techniques, and the way of drifting. The script was written by the king himself, the initial driver and drifter Keiichi Tsuchiya. The main character of the anime series is a high school student, Takumi Fujiwara. He is portrayed as a talented driver who works with his father delivering tofu. The guy delivers tofu with his father's Hachiroku, and every day he starts to improve his driving skills on dangerous serpentines, managing corners faster and faster, covering delivery distances, and over time the guy becomes so fast that he is competing with professional drivers while on the road. And the movie is interesting as well, as it's based on the same cartoon and mostly repeats the same plot. And one of the most memorable moments in the movie is when, in order to make his son drive carefully and not to damage tofu, the main character's father puts an open cup in Hachiroku's cup holders. But even then Takumi manages to drive faster the same delivery distance. Also during the movie, Hachiroku is getting upgrades and it's turned into a real supercar with amazing characteristics. In addition to rebuilt suspension, changes come to the heart of the car. The standard engine with 128 horsepower is replaced by a real Group A racing engine from TRD division. It is Toyota Racing Development. It is based on the standard 1.6-liter 4AGE engine, except it has 4 valves per cylinder, delivering 240 horsepower at the incredible 11,000 RPM. And let's not forget that the weight of the car is still the same, only 970 kilograms. It makes it a very powerful special combination. And what is also very interesting here is that the tofu store and the road from the cartoon and the movie are the real locations in Japan. Fujiwara Tofu Shop was the real tofu shop somewhere near northwest from Tokyo. But in 2006, the new city construction development project was on the way and the shop was demolished. And knowing that and how important this location was to the growing crowd of fans, Toyota restored the shop to its full size and its museum. The museum has the original storefront and even the original tofu making utensils from the store, but the biggest gift to the army of fans was completely restored to the original specs from the initial D, Toyota AE86 Hachiroku. The production life of Toyota AE86 was short. After 4 years in the assembly line, it was replaced by the next generation Toyota that had front-wheel drive, so it could not be easily drifted. And now, only after a long 25 years, Toyota and Subaru offered their cooperation product. It is now well known as Toyota GT86 model / Subaru BRZ or Scion FRS as it was called for a while in the North American market. This new car presented as a rebirth of the famous Hachiroku. Its engine is based on the Subaru's horizontally opposed flat 4. This new block produces 200 horsepower and they all go to the rear-wheel drive, accelerating the car from 0 to 60 miles an hour or 100 kilometers an hour in just 7.4 seconds. This new GT86 is well recognized many times as the car of the year, and it is managed to participate in motorsport and various world touring championships, including drifting, but this time on much bigger scale. And now it seems time only can tell if GT86 is going to get as much emotional attraction as its legendary parent Hachiroku. That's all I have for you today, guys. Thanks for watching this video and see you in the next one.